I like how I start things off, man. I'm talking for the playback. If you're just starting the playback, you may skip a few minutes because, I like to let people come in on the live stream. So I will say that. But the topic is going to be pretty interesting nonetheless. And we're going to bounce around to a couple topics. Couple things I found this morning as I've been going through my receipts. And so we're going to have a pretty cool live stream this morning. We're just getting started. If you're coming in, just getting started. And I'm going to talk about why this old historical map is important. That's what we're going to talk about. At least that's one of the things, one of the topics we're going to talk about. I've been triggered this morning by a few different receipts in my archives. So, yeah, I definitely got a few different lessons we're going to talk about. Now, my recent video on live stream with Queen Quit is making its rounds. And I might get started here now. Once I get a couple people in here, I'll kind of get started, and then I just kind of recap over and over as people start to come in. So, why is this map important? Look at all that. Look at all them dots, right? Notice where all of these dots are situated. Oil and gas. Oil and gas all over there in the Midwest. I'm from the Oklahoma area, and you have gas and oil all over here. Now, this will be a recap for some, but for some not. Some people know where I'm going with this. Some people won't. But let's talk about the Love family. We're going to talk about Indian intermarriage. We're going to be talking about some Chickasaw freedmen, Choctaw freedmen, and how over 1,500 of them were going to court to fight to have their name taken off the freedmen rolls because they were by blood Indians. Well, that's pretty funny. That's 1,500 people. Do you know how many people total said that they was say that they were so-called freedmen or, slaves of so-called YT folks? Well, let me pull up a screenshot. Well, I'll pull this up. Hold on. It's a video. Well, that's a sizable chunk. Because notice, in the Choctaws, it's about 4,000 freedmen that was signed up on the Dawes Rolls itself. And then you got another 3,500. No, I'm sorry, not 3,500. 2,300 Chickasaws. Now think about this. That's 6,300 people who were signed up on the Dawes Rolls, right? At least, let me see if I got that receipt over here. Yep, it's over here. At least 1,500 of them, at least, has said, hey, I'm not supposed to be on this roll. I'm a real Indian. What are you doing putting me on this roll? Now, that's just from a newspaper clipping, but we also have official paperwork from the Department of the Interior, the commissioner to the 5 civilized tribes, where you have people right here saying, hey, see that Freeman roll? Let me start you on the other line. Hold up. It says, hey, you need to transfer the names from said freedmen roll to rolls of Choctaws by blood. And you got names of people up here. These people are fighting in another court battle in order to have their names be put on the Chickasaw by blood Indian rolls. All right? They say, hey, these people were playing around. I'm not supposed to be on here. Well, they're not the only ones, along with that 1,500. You got other paperwork by other people. And it says, hey, where is it at? Commissioner, Department of Chickasaw, no application. No, okay, they're like, hey, no application. This is like a response from the 5 civilized tribes. They say, hey, the record contains no documentary evidence to show that the application was ever been made by or on behalf of the petitioners who have been enrolled as freedmen. Now, hold on. Okay, we'll get to it. For enrollment as citizens by blood of the Choctaw Nation prior to 1906. The date, we'll break it down. I'm gonna read through it, then we'll break it down. The date of the petition herein. Wherefore, no additional right to enrollment as citizens by blood occurs to the petitioners by reason of the provisions of Section 4 of the Act of April 26, 1906. Section whatever. It is therefore recommended that the petition as to them be denied. So what do we have going on here? What you have here is this is a response from the 5 civilized tribes or the Department of Interior. I'm sorry, from the Department of Interior to the 5 civilized tribes, to somebody within that, and they had said, "Hey, I'm supposed to be a blood Indian," and they're saying, "Hey, there's no record. No, the record contains no documentary evidence to show that the application has ever been made on behalf of the petitioner who was enrolled as a freedman." So think about this. 2 things to think about with that statement right there. Thank you for liking the live. Thank y'all for coming in. 2 things to think about with that statement right there. One is the fact that they're saying, hey, we're denying you because as far as to be a by blood Indian because you didn't put in the application. So think about that. That should open your mind up that, hey, if some people didn't put in a particular application, they didn't recognize you as a by blood Indian, according to them. Even if you put it in, they could say, hey, we don't have it. We ain't got no record. When'd you do it? What? It didn't come this way. Okay, they can say whatever, right? The next thing you should be thinking is if they didn't put in the application to be a by blood Indian for whatever reason, maybe they forgot, maybe they didn't know, you know how they be playing games, right? Who enrolled them as a freedman? Who did that? Because you got to put in an application for that too, right? If you didn't know, well, let me show you one. Here's an application to be applying to be a freedman. Let me say application, right? See, this is from my family right here, this particular application, my old family member. And he says in here that he was a what? Full-blooded what? He said he's a what? Well, they didn't put him down as that. What's up, Engine? He says, so by blood ain't about ancestry, it's about paperwork. Exactly. And I know you know. Let me follow you back. I thought I was following you. You be You be out here going hard. I didn't have to do a Freedman application. Well, if you didn't have to do an application, that just means they signed you up. You should ask why. Why would they just sign you up? Based upon your lookership? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's a nigga. Go ahead and make him Freedman. He can't be anything else, right? He can't be anything else possibly, right? So we got people coming up in here. I appreciate y'all. This is gonna get pretty deep. I'm gonna tell y'all this is gonna get real deep and exposing in a sense. So what you have here is an application to be a freedman. And everybody would have these because I've read at least 300 of these. At least. Well, maybe 200. Yeah, I might be throwing an extra 100 or something on there. But I used to wake up in the morning, go to the National Archives records at 4 o'clock in the morning, like I'm up like right now, right? And I used to just cruise. I would type in Freedman applications. Watch, I'll show you. I'll show you what I did. So that way you can do it too. Because y'all can read them. And get the info too. We all need to be reading these. So okay. So now this just jumps to one. But I'm in the National Archives Record.gov. .gov. Did you see that GOV? We serious. We're not going to pussy ass Google sites. Not just playing. So I'm searching the National Archive of Records. I'm not searching the Google. Now, there's nothing wrong with searching Google. Of course I use that. Everybody uses that. You're going to use that too. You know what I'm saying? But you need to go in and search actual sites with records. Now, of course, these sites should pull up when you search certain things, but there's still certain things. This is just whittled down to certain things. Because when I type in Freedman here in the search bar, it's not going to give me what Google is going to give me. It's going to give me a bunch of other stuff. Now, I'm going to actually type in Freedman applications or application because I know that a lot of people have an application. And, hold on, did I spell it right? Freedman. Yeah, okay. Freedman application, and there's some, it's a bunch of words. Let me do packet. Or let me put some parentheses around that. I don't know why it's being so particular. I'm trying to just get a slew of them. Let me see. Let me say, let's do this. And I might have had to do this back then. It's been so long since I did this. Let's say a Choctaw. We'll go through each one of the tribal names with the word Freedman on it. And now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. You see all them little Freedman application packets? Random people names. You can just click in there and be like, what that nigga talking about? Oh, for real, nigga? Say what? You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. But yeah, you can go in here, you can read what was done. You can search up your family surname. So you can come up here instead of Choctaw, you can say Love, like one of my family surnames, Love. Love Freedman application packet. There's Flora Love. There's James Love. Joe and Dillard Perry case. They have some of the loves in there. That's another case. That's actually one of the cases that I found that I just showed y'all about people suing to be put on the roll as by-blood Indians instead of freedmen. It's one of them is right there, okay, in the National Archive Records.gov. So that way you know how I'm finding these things. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm just bullshitting, finding random screenshots or something, you know. But you can go to each one of these. Like, these are all Love family. Samuel Love. That's one of the people in my tree. Arthur Love and whatever. And I can click on it. And when I click on there, it's going to give me the packet. And what's cool, what got me onto this is because many of these people have applications where they had an interview. Not all of them. They all should have had an interview. That's a whole nother story on corruption. But hey, I'm going to be making a documentary about that as too, the corruption on that, because these people. A lot of these loves don't have a lot of the loves don't actually have an interview. And I think I'm 100% sure that was done on purpose. You have these so what I'm talking about, an interview. Notice this. This is one of my other people. And this is what you typically see with a lot of these. You see this question and answer format with a commissioner, or whatever you want to call them, and the applicant, okay? And why is this cool to me? Because my person said in his own words, I'm a full-blood engine. That is a direct oral account of what he was. If we're gonna say, if them natives can say, my grandma told me told me when she got, knowing her grandma probably got here on some boat in 1906. This from the Philippines or from goddamn Siberia or somewhere, and started assuming our names and taking on our names. I can show you all that too. Show you handwritten proof of that. In fact, I'm gonna show you that right now. So they were doing that, but I'm gonna show you that after I get off of this topic, because I'm already on the National Archives records. But it's supposed to be a question and answer thing, okay? That's what it's supposed to be. But what you have here with the Love family are these like paragraphs saying, hey, my name is Linton Love, whatever. Now, this was not that one. Let's go to one that's, I could go to my Bill Love one. I'm going to go to the one to Bill Love, my actual folks. So this is Bill Love's application. He didn't have a question and answer format. And why I pay attention to everything that changes. I'm like, well, why would you not have a question and answer format? Like my other relative did. Because I got a bunch of people from Oklahoma, because all my people went to Oklahoma. And I'm from Oklahoma. So why would y'all have 50 people in here? Appreciate y'all. This is going to get deep. Why would you have all these people with these formats? And then when I would go look into the National Archive records, I see a bunch of other people with this format. But then when I see these people, my Love family and other prominent surnames, really prominent surnames, they're all like this. Well, and the things that are different is this. Let me show you this. On here, they always ask the same questions. Notice one of the questions are, who are your father and who is your mother? Every time. No matter what Freeman application I damn near found that was in a question answer format, they always ask who the mother father is, as well as many other things. But what's messed up over here is they never ask Mr. Bill Love who his parents are, and neither do they type it down. What is that? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? And you know what? As I did my digging through the National Archive records under that same search term under Love, because I was like, well, let me look at more applications about the Love family, because I had saw other videos of people. I'll show you a video of other people showing corruption within their tree. Now, I was just looking up the word Choctaw. I'll show you how I found shit. I was just looking up the word Choctaw, which is the original name of the Choctaw people, my people. So then when I went down, at the time I was just looking at videos. I was looking for videos about Choctaw. So if you can see here, you can actually separate it. So I clicked on the movies. I was like, well, let me see what all they got, man. I think I looked at everything, to be honest with you, but I'm about to will it down to that. So under that, I have found a movie that was just labeled, I have found a movie that was just labeled Choctaw. So of course, you know, your boy got to click it, right? So this movie was not really like, it was 7 minutes long. I'm not gonna play it the whole thing, or I'm not gonna play hardly any of it, but I'm just gonna explain it. But what you have is a guy, and actually that's important, and because that's what made me realize it. I went back to watch this again. I had watched this in the past, but you had this guy that made this video about his family, his last name being coming from a Love as well, and I was like, man, you came from a Love too, right? You shot Todd too, right? I was like, okay. So I'm listening, I'm watching. And then he shows this. I said, funny, that looks familiar. It looks familiar to this, right? Very familiar. And then something else jumped out to me. Later on in this video, he explains how there's an issue with him like connecting his this particular grandma or family member to the next side of the Loves. I mean, like it's, the connection is definitely there, but there's like these issues. Without, I can't remember. I'd have to play how he played it. But then he's the one that shows how 1,500 people showed that they were blood Indians. That's where I got this from, this dude. But what am I getting to? I kept looking at this in particular, and I said, you know what? The commissioner, Mr. A.S. McKinnon, is the same commissioner on my paperwork. Huh. Why would that be? Why would that be? Why would A.S. McKinnon be on both our paperwork? Well, then I started to say, well, they're family members. They're all Loves. So, maybe they came in around the same time. And then when I looked at other Loves, they didn't come in at the same time. There were different times. Some did, some didn't. But one thing I noticed is all of their paperwork was like this and not like this. Now I have to say, why is that? Appreciate y'all coming in. I don't be looking down sometimes. I just like to cook and cook and cook and cook. So I'm going to look down sometimes, make sure I give y'all some love and appreciate the love y'all showing, the likes and all that good stuff. Say, yeah, he was well known. Engine got the right mind frame. Engine got the right mind frame. Or the Love surname was well known. Because we're going to be getting to it. Because I started off this with a map. Let me go back to it. I don't know why I didn't put it over here. With a map. I started it off with a map. And this was the map of resources. Now, we're going to get to why my uncle was taken off. I mean, my great-great-grandfather was put on the rolls as freedman. And we were just digging into how some people's applications were different. So I'm kind of like going different places here. But I want to remind y'all, all the Indians were in Indian territory. And I believe Indians were in Oklahoma too. I think they just, before they moved us to Oklahoma, there were already some of us there. But your Indian removal, and a lot of the people in my family tree, those Loves in particular, the Love family, they all got moved to Oklahoma during removal, right? Why is that important? Well, first of all, look at all the oil and natural gas fields in Oklahoma. You know who got rich off of oil and natural gas in Oklahoma? It was, and this may seem like a repeat to some who are coming in here who know me. What's up, Latrice? This may seem like a repeat to some who know me, but some haven't seen this map because I just refound this map this morning in my in my archives, going through, organizing all my receipts, getting ready for these documentaries your boy about to put out. Plug. You know what I'm saying? About to be putting out documentaries, really exposing what I find. But okay, who right here in the top right hand corner of Oklahoma was getting rich off of oil and natural gas? Well, I'll show you. I don't want to just tell you. Can't be that way, you know? I got to show you something. People always just talking, right? Your boy gonna show something. You can probably see it as I type it, right? How did I forgot how I worded it last time, but you already know where I'm going. Community simply needs flourish. Hold on. Let me say how Black Wall Street, oil and gas or something. What did I put in? The connection between Black Wall Street and the oil and gas boom is that the oil boom in Tulsa fueled the prosperity of the black community of the Greenwood District, which became well known as the Black Wall Street. Now, I knew this because I had already did research years ago about Black Wall Street, and I actually got a movie I done started, wrote about it. You know, I bet y'all don't even believe me. I bet y'all don't even believe that your boy be writing scripts. I got a whole movie that I need to finish writing, and then I don't know how. I mean, I can shoot, and I shoot films too. I'm about to get back into that, but let me pull up a little something on my MacBook, just so y'all know I ain't bullshitting. You be like, I just like to I like to prove. Hold on, what is it called? Let me just go to my scripts area. I know I got it on here somewhere. But yeah, I was doing heavy research about Black Wall Street, and I knew, there you go. I knew, why is this doing this? I knew, here you go. It's called Greenwood, at least right now, by Samuel C. motherfucking Bay. We're going to change that because I don't go by Bay at all no more, and that's funny. And I never was a Moor. Never was a Moor. Never was on no nationality and law and all that stuff. I was just, that's a whole nother phase of my life back in my 20s. But yeah, this is a whole, when I say I got a whole script wrote, you know what I'm saying? Talking got people's names and whatever. It's in the right format for screenplay, you know what I'm saying? And when I say I extensively wrote a lot, I think I'm maybe somewhere 3/4 done with it, incorporated my grandma's name in there. I remember that. She's one of the characters. At least her name is. My papa's middle name is in there too. Utilize his name as a character, so you got to make it personal. But as you can see, yeah, your boy wrote all this, okay, from his brain, all right, and it keeps going, okay. It's a whole screenplay, all right. He done lost his mind. Okay. Anyways, so. The reason why I know that because O.W. is the name of the person, O.W. Gurley. O.W. Gurley was the person who actually started Black Wall Street, one of the two. Two people were two of the first black people to move there and decided to open this up. So my standpoint within this film is coming from the point of view of an oil tycoon and the point of view of a lowly farmer who just got through, even though sharecropping is kind of some bullshit, who just got out of sharecropping, made his way and decided to make his way to Oklahoma for a different life. The oil tycoon meets up with the sharecropper or the farmer. He's like, man, look, I just need this land so I can get my oil. If you can do me a favor and you can go ahead and do your little farming shit, right? Shit, we can make this a team effort. You know what I'm saying? I'm just drilling. You could use the rest of them patches and you'll be able to till the land for me so I ain't got to do it. And I can go do my own thing. somewhere else and make this oil money. And then it's this whole story of love and all kind of stuff going into it, right? All right, so let's get back onto the lesson. Stop plugging my shit that I don't know when it's ever going to come out. But that just goes to show a little bit of proof that, your boy was doing some research about the business, the oil boom, or why Tulsa was what Tulsa was and where these people came from. And what's funny, some of these people started, the reason why it's called Greenwood is because they came from Greenwood, Mississippi, and they wanted to attract people from Greenwood, Mississippi up there by giving it that name, saying, hey, look, we're starting another one in a sense, okay? And funny about Mississippi is that's the area where the Choctaws were removed from around the same time. Oh, coincidence, huh? I think not. So, okay, let's get off of that and let's get back to the rest of this. Well, that just lets you know and proves that, hey, the oil in the area fueled a boom, a financial boom. It says, I think O.W. Gurley was Ottawa. That's what I'm short for. Oh, really? I'm going to have to look more. See, now, back then, I wasn't even on, in my 20s, I wasn't even on the Indian topic. I didn't even know, to be honest, man. My family didn't really have much information, but when I got older and started questioning and went back to the old people, a couple of them was like, yeah, we supposed to be this or whatever, a couple. They was kind of vague with it, but by that time, I went and already researched and found us on the Dogs Roads and everything else. But now, notice that we have a bunch of little oil patches down here. Look at that. All right, so that was your Tulsa. All right, here's this area right here. Well, what's that area? Texas had a lot of it too. Louisiana had a lot. I believe when they removed this, they was trying to get these in Louisiana, to be honest with you. And Alabama has some too. Notice this is where a lot of that oil is. Notice all the oil over here. Before Western expansion, it all kind of happened around the same time. They like, oh shit. It's like they just kind of figured out about that oil. Because this would be your colonies, your 13 colonies, where they said slaves were, okay? And they didn't go this way until after 1803, the Louisiana Purchase. Well, that's funny. As they went this way, they removed the Indians. But the Indians, they want you to believe we're just living like primitive beings in huts and bullshit. But we know now that these old world buildings are there. And they have been there for a long time. But without getting into that, let's look at this one. This is also your coal fields in the America around that time. Notice not only are we rich in natural gas in the Indian territories. For those who don't know this being Indian territory, let me show you. Let me just show you with one easy map. Indian Territories map, Library of Congress. Or I might just have to pull it up on my damn, Sometimes, okay, now here it goes. Sometimes it be acting like you don't want to pull up. What? Wrong one. No, here it is. So we're in the Library of Congress, okay? We're going to go to the map. To the map, right? I don't know why this doesn't take me there like it used to, but okay, here we go. The actual map. Now, what is this map? Well, it is called the Map of the Indian Tribes between 1600 and 1800. Notice it says westwardly, westwardly. Notice it says that. And notice the date, 1803. When did I say the Louisiana Purchase happened? 1803. It says 1800. 1803. So who occupied these areas with all of this coal and all of this natural gas that they don't want you to think we knew about? Well, It'd have been the names of the people who your family members say y'all are. I was told I was Cherokee. I was told I was Choctaw. I was told my mama said I was Ottawa. My mama said I was Anadarko or Kickapoo or Shawnee or Potawatomi or whatever the case may be. And this is just a few. They done erased so many names. Whole ass nigga. Quapaws, Caddos, Eshikes, they're not listed. But there are Eshike. Some people would call them a Takapa. Oh, there they go, a Takapa. But they're really Eshike because they be changing names, playing games, and all that. These are the names that some of y'all family members say, "Hey, that's my fault." Now, the funny thing is when you do try to claim it, they laugh at you. They say, "Aren't you silly? You were a slave to these people, okay? You were a slave to these people." That's what they want you to believe. And that is 100% false. We were these people. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that's a whole nother. I'd have to pull up 10 receipts for that to prove that. But we're going to stick to this. So they didn't start their westward expansion from the colonies until then. And another way to show you that is within the census records. The slave population census. Well, you can just think of it as the black population census because they just be bullshitting. This would be who was here between 1790 and 1850. Broken down, right? Now, the only amount of importations that came in, they say, are 333,000, which is a lie. Importations, right? Between 1715 to 1808. You couldn't bring no more Indians, not Indians, I'm sorry. You couldn't bring no more Africans or anybody here after 1808. Morning, Lola. What's going on? Oh, I thought that was Lola. But notice these numbers are all whole numbers. Thanks for the gifts. Appreciate y'all being in here. Notice these numbers are all whole numbers. Okay? Well, that just means they're guesstimating because you're not going to find no whole numbers up here, right? That means they actually did some counting. Okay? And what they were counting in 1790 were just the colony states. Okay, just the colony states. They did not count Alabama until 1820, and then all of a sudden, thousands of niggas pop into existence. Okay, same thing with Arkansas. Just pop into existence, right? You couldn't bring nobody over here after 1808. So where they come from? They didn't migrate from none of these places. If they migrated, some people will say, in some places say, hey, they migrated from other states. Well, you don't show migration patterns. You don't show numbers declining from these states. You show these numbers increasing from the colonies. You typically show them increasing. The only ones you show decreasing are the ones where they removed slavery before it was over. New York, where you got 21,000, 20,000, 15,000, 10,000, 75, 4, and nobody. And by 1850, it's not that all the slaves and black people just went out of New York. They done expelled them all. No, they just stopped counting them because the only declines you're going to find on here are going to be from states that were like that. And there's still going to be small declines. Everything else are super increases. No, you don't see any kind of migration to make up all of these folks in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana and Kentucky and Tennessee and all these other places because they were not there in that area. Okay, I'm beating that drum to get back to this map. So you come back to this map, they were all situated in the 13 colonies, not even in Florida. Okay, after 1808, they make their push to the west. Look at what's all in the West. Now, let me prove through my own family history how when they did the removal and sent people here, how my family members ended up with these gas zones and oil and gas zones right here, and how they became very, very super rich. Well, Let me show you that now. How did that happen? How did that happen where they're sitting on all this oil and natural gas and coal? Well, what you have is, I'm trying to think in my head where the hell I'm trying to start. Let me pull up my tree. And let me see if I have this thing still open. Hopefully I do. I got so many things. My tree was already up. Let me delete some of this stuff while I do this. Hopefully I will run into the thing I already had up and not have to pull it back up. Because that took a minute. That's from a lesson the other day. Damn it. Let me just look through here. No, that's not it. Right here. Nah, we close though. We close. That's Overton love. We're gonna need that too. It might be here still up for your boy. Here's all those receipts. Please, where you at? Paul Timmer Willis. Oh, man. I was hoping. Mississippi removal year. Thomas Love. Okay. Yes. Right here. Okay. So, you got Thomas Love. Now, Thomas Love is in my tree. My tree's not close enough, so I don't want to go to it. But Thomas Love is in my tree. Now, Thomas Love ended up getting 2 wives. Now, another thing I want to show is down here he has a story. First of all, I want to show you how he was a broke nobody, okay? Because Thomas Love, let me see, was a refugee. He was a refugee. You know, refugees are, right? Broken dusty, right? Typically, no hate to all the some refugees are fleeing persecution or something, and they need a little help. But he was broken dusty. He was a refugee Tory from Virginia who settled amongst the Chickasaws in 1782 after his father was William English Bill had been unalived. Thomas said that he took off through the briar patch and made his life-saving escape. And where did he escape to? He went to the Chickasaw Nation because they were known for being friendly and taking people in. Okay? And while he was there, he ended up getting a couple of wives. Purposely. Well, I don't want to say he got a couple wives. We're going to get to that. He had a couple women and children. We'll get to a video that talks about that. But nonetheless, they want you to believe that those were his wives and children. But also, it says, hey, he also assisted in marking the Chickasaw boundary in 1796. Well, they shouldn't have let me read that, and also shouldn't have let me see John McIntosh appointed him as the administrator, because John McIntosh was a very prominent, supposed, YT slave owner, or not necessarily slave owner. I would say governor of an area of slaves or black folks who worked and whatever, and everybody was kind of under that person or something. I just don't believe these people were real slave owners like that. But because people, if you were black and you were a worker, you were marked down as a slave. If you didn't own a head of household, if you wasn't a head of household, you were marked down as a slave, pretty much. If you didn't have papers, you was pretty much marked down that way. But either way, and John McIntosh has a lot of corruption that goes within him alone. Actually, there's a McIntosh County that's where the Geechees are in and where they started. So really, McIntosh, the name hit. Let me just show y'all. McIntosh, the Indian chief. Well, I just put McIntosh the Indian. Hell, William McIntosh. Look at that fake ass motherfucking YT dude chief. Okay, and you got to think his name is still McIntosh. So how did he get the name McIntosh? You know what I'm saying? And be able to be chief, and he's a YT dude, and they painted him to try to make him look like this, but he was pale white. You know, they just be playing games. But and he was also known as Tusted and Noogie Hotki or whatever, lying ass. But a Creek Nation. The reason why I say this is because they first started taking over the Wale area, the actual Wale Geechee area. Let me show you a receipt on that since I'm saying it. McIntosh County has a history. What is that history? Well, it's a history with Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon when he first got there in the 1500s. Well, that's funny. That's funny. Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon, I've read him. You know, I didn't read him by this time, but I had read him for sure after this. Now, so the place used to be called, it says, hey, Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon established San Miguel de Gualdape in Sapelo Sound in present-day McIntosh County. So San Miguel de Gualdape is McIntosh County today. McIntosh County today was San Miguel del Gualdape. What was San Miguel del Gualdape? Before the Spaniards called it San Miguel del Gualdape. See, you got to just think logically. What was it before the Spaniards got there? Well, I'll show you. Because the Spaniards named it Gualdape because they was having a problem. According to the letter of Hernando de Soto, they were having a problem pronouncing another name. What is that name? Wale. Let's read. See, they done fucked around and let me get hold of too many books and websites and archives and stuff. It says 7 leagues to the north of these towns, which instead of pronouncing it Oritza, they who went there called it Chicora. Oh, and I got to start remembering that. Because I've been talking about Chicora. Chicora, that's the name of South Carolina, which it is. When Christopher Columbus got there, he called it, people in 1551, they said it was Chicora. But the real name was Oritza. Okay, keep that in mind. But it says the Spaniards couldn't call it that, so they called it Chicora. And it says, as for the other town, Wale, they said Gualdape. So they're saying, hey, there's this town that's called Wale, but I can't say that shit, so I'm going to call it Gualdape. So why am I saying this? Well, let's go back here. Lucas Vasquez in 1526 landed there, and they called it Chicora, or they called it San Miguel de Gualdape. It was called Chicora before he landed there in 1526, and I can show you that on maps. Actually, I'll show you that on a map. I love doing that. I love to show you all things. You my peoples, you know what I'm saying? I like to keep it real with the folk. Let me show you on some maps. If I can find the category. And we're talking about this whole thing is about the Geechee area. All these maps talking about the Wale district by the Ogeechee River in Altamaha, right? The Wale district. But I want to show you other maps. Maps like this one from 1562, La Florida Francois, whatever, from the French. As you will see as you zoom in, first of all, there's Florida. there's Virginia. In between, there is no South Carolina. Okay, it hasn't been formed yet. But there is a Charles Fort or Charles Town. So this should let you know that it was a fort before it became a town. It was a structure put there by YT folks in order to guard themselves upon the Indians from the Indians as they hit the shore. Think about it that way. You hit the shores, you build a fort, you take out whoever, scare them off, build a fort to protect yourself as you start making your expansion and bringing more people in. Buying yourself time to bring in more troops, colonize and move, okay? And then you call it Charlestown. Right? But right next to Charlestown is Chicora, still listed on maps. Or it should be called Oritza. I'm going to have to start being more diligent on using that because this already proves a little bit of erasure. When you change the name, you're erasing people. This was Oritza. All right? But all the things are going to call it Chicora, and that's fine, I guess, at this point. So, not fine, I got to stay on their ass about being truthfully historically truthful. So that's one map. I got other maps. I may have to type it in. Let's see. This is when Carolina just started getting formed. This one right here also has it. Okay, this is another map in the Spain archives or French archives. And when you zoom in, you can see Chicora or Chicola, but it would be Chicora right there in the same area. Okay. There is no Charles Fort right here, at least listed. But at least we know that they seen it on maps. So people weren't playing games. Okay. And I got some more maps with it listed somewhere. It's listed on so many different maps. Here's another one. Yep, here's another one. And you got a Charles Fort, Chicora or Chicola. They be playing around, throwing the L for the R sometimes or whatever they want to be doing. But Chicora and Charles Fort. Okay? And then you got other names here, some of which are things that maybe the French probably called certain areas, which could be indigenous tribe names. You just kind of got to look through them and look them up. Okay? So we know that Chicora existed. We know that Oritza existed. Why is that important? Going back to William McIntosh. Well, who is William McIntosh? Well, William McIntosh has established himself, as I showed, under this thing. Let me go back. Well, I didn't completely explain it. So now that we know the area, let me go back to that receipt. Come on now. Goodness, I had to do that? That's so stupid. Okay. So now you got to think about it. If Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon got to the area in 1526, and when he got there, he said, hey, I'm going to name this place San Miguel del Guadape, which used to be called the Wale area, which was possibly in Chicora, which was possibly also Oritza. See how they be playing games. And the Wale area expands past the Chicora area, I should say. But without going all the way deep. Let me just make sure my phone is straight. I don't have anything I need to be doing. Okay, we good. Let me keep cooking for y'all. So now that we know that the Spaniards called it that, when did it get called McIntosh County? When did it get called McIntosh County? And why is it called McIntosh County? Anyways, well, let's take a look and let's see if we can find some info. Because you know what? I know who it's named after. We know it's named after William McIntosh, the YT so-called Indian chief, right? Let's see when it was named in. When was McIntosh County? Is that Georgia or South Carolina? Now McIntosh, Georgia. Georgia established? Sorry to kind of saying that. 1793. Well, what happened around that time in the Georgia area that would cause the name to change? Especially possibly with the Creek Indians. Well, let's take a look. Indian Wars timeline. Let's take a look at what kind of wars were going on in that area around that time, 1796 and before. And we're going to see what was happening. And if anything was happening, particularly in Georgia, that would cause a bunch of people to have to leave or something. Well, yeah, that's 1812. Okay. So you have, this is the Battle of Fallen Timbers, but this is going on mostly in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. Now you have the Chickamauga Wars of 1776 to 1794. This was fought in Georgia and the Carolinas. It says, in a struggle to keep their territory, the Cherokee, led by Chief Dragon Canoe, let me do this, my bad. Try to get most of it on there, but it's kind of long. In a struggle to keep the territory, the Cherokee, led by Chief Dragon Canoe, fought against the American settlers throughout the Revolutionary War across Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, Carolinas, and Georgia. Post-1786, the Cherokee joined Chief Tecumseh, organized Western Confederacy against Anglo settlers. The colonial militia responded to attacks with large forces, unaliving hundreds of Cherokees and selling those captured into slavery. Yeah, that's Indian slavery. In exchange for peace, the Cherokee were forced to surrender large areas of land, and those who remained were later moved to Oklahoma. Well, that's one war that was going on there. Let's take a look up. Now, this one, Lord, that was going on in Virginia. You had the Pontiac Rebellion that was going on in Ohio River Valley, Great Lakes. You had the Cherokee Wars going on in the Carolinas in 1759 to 1761. You have the French and Indian War, but that's probably more south. Yeah, I think that's probably more south. You have the Yamasee War. Okay, now that's very much so in the area. Talking about the South Carolina area, but this is kind of early. We're talking about it was established after that. So what you have is the Creek chief being McIntosh, and McIntosh County being happening around 1793 after all those Indian wars. Okay. So it was called San Miguel de Guadalupe before then, and then that. So let's move forward. So we've established that McIntosh, the guy McIntosh, and anybody likely with this McIntosh last name probably ain't too good of a person, right? That's what I'm trying to establish for you. Right, he's an AK White Warrior. I know, right? That's what they say. These people be playing games, y'all. Hundreds of games. What kind of YT person would ever be called copper colored, right? But, they don't want you to remember that Indians used to be called copper colored. I might use this as a tangent moment. But so as we've established that McIntosh can't be that great of a person, right? Well, when we go back and look at Mr. Thomas Love here, and we see that Thomas Love was appointed as an administrator by a McIntosh in not Georgia, but in after westward expansion, which would be, what is this? What did I say we're in? We're in, this is supposed to be in Mississippi area before they moved to Oklahoma. I don't think I actually said it. But according to the records, my family, this particular side of my family was Mississippi area before they moved to Oklahoma from the removal, so-called removal. And I'm going to show y'all that. I might have to show y'all that if I can find it. Because it says that my family, the Love family, that they wasn't forcefully removed from their homes. They took their time, got rid of all their belongings, sold their house, all this other stuff. Basically took their time at their leisure and left when they decided to. They were a wealthy family. So you got John McIntosh here, who had appointed Mr. Thomas Love as an administrator, and Thomas Love helped to mark the Creek-Chickasaw boundary in 1796. What is that showing? It's showing corruption. Because we know that McIntosh can't be a goddamn saint, right? We know anybody now with that last name has already done taken over a tribe, the Creeks, put themselves as a motherfucking chief, done already changed the whole area and colonized the East Coast, and changed the name to his name with his pretentious ass. And then now people, either him or his family members, and that's William, so this is John, so his family members, or either his family members or other YT folks who came here who he gave the surname to so they can act like family, because they stole those surnames anyway. He probably stole the McIntosh surname from us anyway. It could have been, you know, I didn't even want to get into that, because they didn't have these surnames. Whole ass nigga. But it might be that, but for the most part, my bad, I'm rolling this up. But we know that they can't be up to no good. And so one of his folks, he may have sent one of his folks with the last name McIntosh out west once they did the Louisiana Purchase. Say, hey man, go get me some of that land too. Don't be playing around. I'm going to chill here in McIntosh County in South Carolina or Georgia. They used to be called Waldop, San Miguel, Doug, Waldop. They used to be called Wale. They used to be called, Wale District. I better say, but that is in the Chicora area, which used to be called Oritza, as we take it back chronologically. Okay, so I know that anything can be up. These people can be up to no good, and I also know that he mapped out the boundary for the motherfucking Chickasaw boundary. And now, why is that most important? And I also know that he took 2 Indian wives and made a bunch of children. He didn't make those children. I don't believe that. But why is that important? Well, as I was showing y'all earlier, let me go back to it. Okay. As I was showing y'all earlier, this is the map of the oil and gas fields, right? A little historical map, 1896, 1869 to 1944. Those are some funny years. 1896, that's some funny years. Slavery ended 1865. Indian removal of people to Oklahoma happened between 1815 to 1850, 1830 to 1850. A lot of times you'll see it say, but people say it happened before that a little bit. But 1830 to 1850 is when they got sent off to Oklahoma. Where around that time somebody was like doing surveys. It was like somebody was doing surveys for natural gas and oil fields and coal fields. And they all seem to be situated in Oklahoma and all in them Indian areas. Okay? What's up, Nikki? I said I made it sound. What's up, Nikki? A lot of this stuff I'm going through, you know about anyway, because I've been through the Love family. Now, you haven't seen this map, Nikki, because I'm just refinding this map in my archives, and I don't think I've ever used it in anything. I don't think you've probably seen it. You know, you may have been researching. I don't want to be acting like that, like you ain't never seen it. But Jackson, yeah, there would be some of our people too. Now remember, Nikki, what am I getting to? I haven't told them where the county is, but remember, they were big in the oil and gas, wasn't they? How did they know about those fields? Well, as I was just kind of telling people, and I'm going to go ahead and get to it as I'm spoiling it, but Chickasaw boundary was marked out by Thomas Love, right? Who was appointed by a corrupt person with the last name McIntosh, as we know now. All right? And when all of a sudden Thomas Love gets up to Oklahoma, let's look at what the Chickasaw boundary in Oklahoma is. Well, let's take a look at that for those who don't know. I got so many damn windows open, god damn it. I hate that. I'm gonna have to go through and delete all these windows, man. As I open another one, as I open another tab. What is that? Oh yeah, Indian Territories map, Oklahoma. And we're gonna need a side by side, so I'm gonna have to open up another tab that I don't want to open up. Love County, Oklahoma. Let me open this. As it opened up another tab. Appreciate it. We can go by any one of these. This would be more simpler. So, okay. Chickasaw Nation. He assisted in helping to map out the Chickasaw and the Creek Nation. I ain't even looked into that. But he assisted into helping map out the Chickasaw Nation, right? You see this whole area right here? What if I was to tell you he took that whole bottom half? He said, let me get all this. Yeah, I'm going to map this out. And I'm going to just go ahead and take all of that. Okay? What if I told you that? Can I prove that? Can I prove that he gave himself? It's crazy because this is the history that we didn't even learn about in Oklahoma history class, right? No, because then they'd have to explain Devin being there, Devin Energy, and all these other folks. They needed time to learn the game and become Devin Energy and whoever the hell else, Chesapeake and whatever the fuck they'd be out there, you know, in Oklahoma City. So, what if I just showed you that he gave himself half of the whole nation? And what if I would just show you that he gave him half of the whole nation that was filled with oil and gas fields on it? Huh? And what if I can prove that back then doing that allowed them to be some of the richest people even still today? Am I making enough correlations then? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Can I prove that? Well, there is a county called Love County. Well, that's funny. This man's name is what? What was his name? What was these people's name? Let me show you on my tree. Actually, shit. What's her name again? Shit, I can't remember. Damn it! What the hell is going on? Ancestry. See, why wouldn't I just clicked on tree earlier? Just a second ago, y'all saw it in real time that it showed 3 options, and then I refresh, go back, it shows all them options. Them niggas be playing. Okay, Love family, that's Thomas Love, Imahota Love, all these Loves, and then the name switches here because the daughter gets married to a Mitchell, which that Mitchell is the brother of the person I showed y'all the paperwork on earlier, who had a Freeman application. So It like when I say my family is so crazy and how things tie together, because you have this prominent family who owns half of Chickasaw County. The name of Chickasaw County is in their name. And one of their offspring, which becomes a freedman, gets married to a so-called slave of an Indian. But at the same time, even though they were so-called slaves to Indians, through their own account, but I think, of course, that just likely meant worker, but it could have been a slave. But he also says that he was an Indian, a full-blooded Indian, so he was Indian slavery. But funny thing is, they offspring gets with a prominent ass family. Okay, so that's just how things work sometimes. But Thomas Love, right? Love County, right? Well, how do I know they became the richest people in the West after getting all that? Well, let me show you how big Love County is. There's Love County. See how it says Chickasaw Nation? There's Love County. They may not have, but they damn near got. That's why I wanted to do that side by side. They got a big chunk of it. Okay? They got a big chunk of it. Chickasaw Nation. They also, right now, have the biggest casino in the world, according to them, and I think it might be true. They have one of the biggest casinos in the world there. People from Texas be going there all the time. People from surrounding cities go there all the time. So you have the biggest casino in the motherfucking world there, right? All this money, but that's not what's giving them all that money. What's giving them all the money? For those who don't know, Love's travel stops. They are big on oil and natural gas. That is your Love family. Want to see what they're worth? Judy Love. They're on the Forbes list today, looking like Casper the Ghost. No disrespect. $13 billion in worth. How'd that happen? Do you think Thomas Love just said, whoops, I done got all this land in. I just so happened to stumble upon oil everywhere. Boy, that's a coincidence. That's a coincidence. I had no clue. I had no clue as I was mapping this out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that. I was just trying to find us a cozy little Oklahoma area. You know what I'm saying? To slap my feet on the ground and chill, make me some corn and fry bread. That's what I was trying to do. God just so happened to give me this oil, okay? You can't be mad that God gave it to me, okay? You can't be mad at my Jesus giving me these blessings. Okay? And as we kick the niggas out, you can't be mad that we kept all the money either. You hoe ass niggas not just playing. That's what they thinking. That's what they thinking. That's the mind of a YT as they run off with the bag, right? Now, how do I know that they knew this? How did I know that they knew that this was going to happen? How do I know that they conspired? Well, I can bring up 2 documents for you that will show you full proof that they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. Oh, I got the document still up. Good. I'm glad I ain't got to go far. So, we've established. And then I'm going to show you these documents to show you that these people were working together. And then we're going to bring up newspaper clippings to show you how they knew that if they were to get Indian wives, Indian women, that they would get access to these lands to be able to map out. Because again, remember, Mr. Thomas Love came here after his dad was unalived in the war, in the Revolutionary War. He ran away like a little old biznitch. Instead of fighting to the death, he said, "No, yo, I'm out, nigga. Chickasaws, help me out. I heard y'all was friendly to niggas, to white folks like me, my bad, to pale folks like me. Please help me out." And the Chickasaws took him in. That was his story. Okay, and it does say it through here too. Actually, it says right there, one tradition is that William Love was killed in the Patriots in 1780 near Love's factory, blah, blah, blah. And then that's what his father, Love, Thomas Love the Loyal, who escaped from his surrounded home the night of the killing, fled the country of the fled the country to the friendly Chickasaws, and here joined the Colberts and Colbert Ferry in the area of Muscle Shoals. Well, who else joined that ferry? Who else was a little old biznitch on the ferry? Well, there's names listed of the biznitches on the biznitch ferry. Yeah. Yeah. And where were they going? They were heading their happy asses to Chickasaw country. Let me show y'all. If I got the map still up. I do, but damn, so many tabs. And then open up another tab. God damn. I'm doing it on the iPad. I'm about to show you. Escaping to the Chickasaw countries. Okay? Where's that at? Right there. What's funny about that? What's funny about that? That area also has some oil and natural gas deposits. Right there. But, okay. So it's like they notice how there's none over here. Right? In the colonies where they were chilling. And then all of a sudden, westward expansion happens. For what reason? You think they just purchased it? Manifest destiny. We just got to move that way because we got to get to the gold all the way on the other side. You know, that's why we got to do it. And there was gold, but they had to find that out at some point. But who believes it was oil and natural gas? How come they said, you know what? We got to go take out the rest of these Indians and trick them out of their land or something because we need that. We just got on these shores. We was chilling. It was so fertile. We was taking the tobacco out of Virginia. I can show that. I'm going to have a whole Virginia documentary. We was taking the tobacco out of the Virginias. We was doing all the, after they was trading it with us for years, all the way up. We was trading tobacco with them all the way up until the 1700s, y'all. Let me show you. Let me show you real quick, and then we'll get to the Thomas Love. As I go to my Virginia folder, these are a lot of advertisements of melanated Indians with pearls, curly hair, woolly hair. And what are they doing? Like this one guy right here. What are they doing here? What's going on right here? Before I explain it, let me give you a time frame. In the area, Virginia, and they're smoking, right? Virginia, and they're smoking, or this is just so it's barrels, right? Virginia, barrels, or Westminster, Best Virginia, right? Right. Virginia. But let me find one with a date on it. 1703. Why is that important? They said the bulk of the slave importations came in after 1715. Most of your Africans came in from 1715 to 1808, according to the census. And very few came in prior. Very, very, very few. But here we have advertisements showing hella niggers not being shackled up and chained and being forced. Get that tobacco, you niggers. Hand it over. That ain't what we seeing right here. These niggas is chilling in the photograph, in the advertisement. Like, who wanted to see smoking, chilling ass niggas in their advertisement? Who hated niggas back then, right? But this is what was going on. So let's explain. Some of these are in the British Museum, right? And all of these people have many clues of all wearing pearls in their ears. And that's very much a clue of many different things. Even this right here, a big photograph from something else different that shows when they were taking people out, helping escort some of these people out back to their ships. And these are the Indians helping to escort them to some ships. But if you come over here, you see what these Indians are drawn like, okay? But you got this going on 1715 in the 1700s and 1600s in Virginia. Now, this is supposed to be, think about this. This is supposed to be colonial times. 16, 19, 20 and odd Negroes showed up on the shores. Ha ha ha. Kiss my ass. 20 and odd Negroes showed up on the shores, got beat into being English slaves, ran away from being English slaves, perfected becoming Indians, started wearing goddamn hats like motherfucking feathers, and then started selling tobacco to your dumb ass, which you supposed to be getting him back on the fields as an African, right? What kind of sense does this make? You following me? Y'all following me? What kind of sense does that make? And here you have him holding out tobacco leaves. He's over here sniffing it like that's the good shit, like they do cocaine. And he's over here trying it out. He's like, man, let me puff that out real quick, man. That shit good. That shit good to the bud. Let me hit mine with him. Hold up. Yeah, let me hit mine with the white tea man. As you notice, another thing sitting behind them, because you got to think about this. This is an advertisement. So just like a graphic design flyer, right? Just like a graphic design flyer for a club, everything on the flyer means something. DJ coming here, couple flyers, couple models on the flyer. They gonna be in the house. Got such and such on the 1 and 2s. A contest. Bring the best dressed contest. The this and that. Everything means something on the flyer, right? Why is the ship there? What is the ship indicating? And I'll tell you. And what is this barrel full of tobacco indicating? Well, let's break this down. And look at the little paraphernalia on the table. Got the pipe set up, nigga, getting the lid. Nigga got the motherfucking crown ready. Nigga, shit, nigga, look, that's a good dealer right there. That's a good dealer. Look, man, sit down and get a little bit of this yak. Okay? Sit down and sip a little bit of this yak. It's this sweet scented tobacco flavored stuff I want you to try out. But you got to try it with this yak. It helps to coat the palate. It also helps to get you a little zooted, right? And he's sniffing it. He's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Right? You got to make it funny for you, you know. Can't be in here monotone with it. You know, it wouldn't be exciting. It wouldn't be interesting. So what is he doing? And old boy's trying it. Well, the ship indicates that, hey, we ship this. We ship barrels of tobacco to the white places who come and trade and get with us. 1700s, colonial times. Why would this be? Why would this be going on? Why would this be going on? You know what happens right after this 1700 times? Y'all love it when I just... I know y'all love it. I gotta throw in the next thing. I'm always throwing this shit. What happened right after that? We're gonna go. I'm gonna leave that up because I'm gonna need that. Back to Indian Wars timeline. Well, you already know where I'm going because I'm saying it. Whoops. Hell, my damn keyboard is tripping again. and it could be a setting I'm gonna have to check on. Let me just do it from here. Let me just do it from here. It's already up anyway. Well, how many wars happened on the East Coast after that time? First, you had these wars, Jamestown massacres, and all that stuff. That's kind of going on in the North, and they talking about the Mexico, and all of a sudden. But during that time, I would say during the 1600s times, is when you see trade still going on. Or I don't even want to say trade, purchases. And come get this green and give me some of that, whatever you got. Marvin trade, Marvin whatever. And then all of a sudden they say, nigga, we need all that tobacco. Queen Anne's War comes on in there. Now they're fighting that in, no, that's Canada. Tuscarora War, North Carolina. We need that off you. Yamasee War coming in like they trying to take from the plug, trying to run up on the plug, right? South Carolina, right? 1715 to 1718. We still must be still holding our own. French and Indian War comes in. I think that's more north. Cherokee Wars. We still holding our own. Cherokee Wars in the Carolinas again. We fighting more wars. Pontiac Wars. That's the Great Lakes area. Lord Dunmore's War. That's some other area. No, that's Virginia. Virginia. Lord Dunmore's War. Shawnee Indians, Kentucky, and all that other stuff. Chickamauga Wars. Okay, all these wars started happening right after they was coming and getting a lot of this here tobacco. And they will tell you, tobacco fueled America, didn't they? Along with cotton. Who was they getting cotton from? If we was giving them tobacco, who do you think was giving them cotton? Do you think they were just stealing it too? Not in the beginning, I'm pretty sure. It was some of this, right? Now, most of these right here are all about the tobacco. But this is what was going on in Virginia. And a lot of these people are listed with pearls in their ears. All the explorers said these people had pearls. Now, the guys, not so much. The guys, not all the time. Even the kid. Go hand that to them white folks. Yeah. Get them nigga that. They don't have the pearls. Most of these people, I may have to go back, but here, they got pearls in their ears. Big, giant pearls, right? Smoking and chilling. Look at this. This shows melanated people out there barreling up and picking up tobacco. Okay? They're like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? And they're in like, you know, look at their outfits. They're not in no slave clothes, right? Pearls in the ears, right? Even on that. Pearls in the ear. Black, melanated, curly, woolly hair, Virginia. Were these people playing around when they made these? Were they playing around? Whoops. When they made these. Pearls in the ears. Or hoops. Pearls or hoops on theirs in particular, but probably pearls. Look at this. So many of them selling it to them. Hey, man, let me show you a little bit of this. Oh, yeah, man, that's that good shit. Look, he got the drink in hand. He got the drink in hand and the pipe in hand. They was getting lit up for the cruise back, nigga. Lit. Okay? And he's sitting on the barrel. He done turned the barrel over, sitting on it like, yeah, man. Shit. Okay? We gonna take this off you. Yeah. That's many of these. Look at it. Look. Even Poindexter. He's like, yeah. This is superb. I think that's superb. Okay? There's some superb quality things you have there. Oh, you like that shit? You like that? Let me pump it for you. Okay? Let me show you how it is real quick, right? I got some in my hand right here for you if you need it. Yes. Just hand it to me. Please don't let them see. I gotta go back to my family. I don't want them to know that I do tobaccos. Anyways, let me shut up. I had to get, I gotta act a fool sometimes. But this was what was going on. Tobacco snuff, the Samuel Wards, right? Wholesale and retail. Look at that. Look at that. For wholesale and retail. What you need. Okay? So now we know for sure what was going on in Virginia around that time. Now that's different. Even here, Virginia cigarettes. Well, why would they do that? Why would they put a person on there like that? Why is that little thing on her chest very, very important? What's funny is I saw something this morning. I think I took a screenshot of it this morning after going through some books. Ooh, make sure that don't delete. That better not have deleted. Notice how that same plate. Where is it at? You got it on that dude right here in John Ogilvy's America. He has several plates. I was going to find another one. This is, I got to get off of that one because he has his 2-inch junk out. It's like, y'all whitewashed the image and y'all made it true to life a little bit to yourself. You should at least exaggerated yourself a little bit. I wasn't sure, but they probably gave me a strike. Them niggas are stupid. I think I saved the photo in something. What did I save it in? I think I know where I saved it. Indian paintings and sculptures. Right. I thought that was the one right there. God damn it. That's from the same book too, talking about Peru. But basically, there's another one that I got like several of those people, and I'm still going through adding to this. Damn it. I got several of those people. I had to go through the whole thing, so I'm not going to do that. With those, what you call it on it. Let me type the word America in here, though, real quick. It might come up under that. That's if I got the whole page saved with it, with the heading at the top of it. But long story short, those plates, the reason why I wanted to show you that is because that ties in an extensive amount of years. Because you have a colored drawing or thing of a cigarette packet with a melanated Indian woman with the same little thing on her chest as the Indians who John Ogilvy in mid 1600s ish, who wrote his book and drew about the Indians at that time. And that's like, that's not a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? And you know who else wears something like that? I'll say it when if I can't find it. I don't know where it's at. I'll have to go back through that whole thing. But I had just seen it. But you know who else wears, let me go back to that Virginia folder. I'm going to pull them up, see if y'all can guess. Do you know who else wears big old giant things on their chest like that? Some of y'all may have already guessed it in the comments. I don't even want to let you see what I'm typing. I don't want to let you see. You got to just see the face. Flavor Flav, right? Flavor Flav. Somebody already had it in their Flav. I just looked down. Oh, man. So, as you can see, our culture has perpetuated in many different ways on many different people and on many different things. Women still wear the pearls, right? The hoop earrings, smoking on the gas, love the red, white, and blue, patriotic, right? Kicking it, stylish, okay? And these were also some Virginia Indians that some people drew or painted in 1675. Well, what did he paint? Let me get a little closer. This is what he painted. This is what he said he saw in 1675 in Virginia. Notice how he's wearing 4 beads of possible pearls. Well, I have passages from De Soto that says they wore up to 4 rows of pearls. I'll show you that real quick. She has 3 on. Okay? Notice his hairstyle. Okay? Notice they got feathers just kind of stuck in their hair, not a whole feather hairdress. Who can stick feathers in their hair and it actually stays in that bitch? Right? Who can do that? I don't think you can stick it in their hair. They be trying. It'll slip out once they start walking, once the wind get to blowing. They gotta like put their hair in a whole bun and stuff it in that bitch. Like start from the top of the scalp and thread it all the way down to the bottom to try to and get you a long feather and shit. Try to really make it fit and shit. You know, nigga just pop it in the side. You know, let me throw that right there. Motherfucker in there all day. Nigga hopping off trees, going running and shit. Them niggas be mad. Them Siberians be mad than a bitch. How come my hair won't do that? I'm the one with the culture and shit. Anyways. So that's what they was drawing. Indians in Carolina in the 1600s, y'all. If you didn't know, now you know. Look at that. Tobacco. Look at that. Okay? They wanted us to seem like we were primitive. See how I'm showing you somebody who's actually dressed with tobacco in their hand? All of them wasn't primitive. He actually got somebody hold my shit. Hold my motherfucking cape as I spark this motherfucking shit for them. Hold up, man. Hold up. Hold up, man. Niggas was so well-to-do, nigga had a nigga rocking around holding his motherfucking cape off the ground, nigga. Nigga, my fashion so clean, nigga, hold my shit. Don't let it touch that ground. Excuse me. Let me get back to the lesson. So I've fully established to you this Virginia shit, right? Excuse me. All right. Ooh. Heavy. All right. So now we're gonna get back to the lesson. We know why was it important just to kind of lead up to now. Why was it important to know what was going on in Virginia? Well, that shows the malice going on. And what the hell is going on? Oh, I guess that's showing that I read these. I've never seen the little eyeballs before. I'm like, what the hell are these eyeballs? But that's showing that I read. They don't. Okay. That's kind of cool. But see, I notice every little thing. When I say the reason why I'm so good at history is because I notice every little small change. So even like in electronics, I've been coming to this website for some time. Now all of a sudden I see little eyes looking at me. I'm going to ask the question. And then I'm going to realize what it is. I'm going to think about the algorithm that they may have put in place and why. I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense because back in the day, this thing is full of fucking pages. And if you're trying to figure out what the hell you was and you done got off the page, had to refresh, it's kind of a bitch having to go through and look for that motherfucker. And it's not really in a particular, I mean, it's got a page number, but if you didn't take the page number down, you're kind of fucked. So then I could see, I'm like, okay, so a team sat together and they done came up with a way to, finally update this motherfucker. So all that goes through my mind really within like the span of 2-3 seconds. Okay, so the same thing happens with history. So when I'm reading the document, I be like, oh, wait a minute, nigga, you on a few other things back here and on this and that, and I can correlate a lot of things together real quick, real easy. Any little changes I noticed too, which is why I be getting on these changes about the erasure of the Indian tribe names and stuff that we be talking about too. But let's get to this. So we was talking about the Virginia. Then you got McIntosh, who shows up in Virginia after the Spaniards done called the area something different from the Indians, which used to be called Wale area, Chicora, or Rizzo, right? And then now it's McIntosh County, and now this white dude McIntosh is leader of the Creek Indians, which that's an idiotic thing. Fake ass Indian chief, and all of a sudden one of his little offsprings, little family members, or whoever he gave his name to with the last name McIntosh, ends up in Mississippi, as well as other people like Thomas Love. The reason why I looked at those wars is because remember Thomas Love was running away from a war. Remember his dad was unalived in the war and he took off running to the Chickasaw Nation. So think about this. I'm kind of correlating this. That's kind of a new correlation for me. So you think about the Indian wars that happened at the time. Well, that happened because of Irish people like Thomas Love's bitch ass dad and him coming in here, coming to the Virginia because they settled in Virginia actually. Okay, now that I think about it. Thomas Love and English Wild Bill Love came to Virginia. That's where they fought their Revolutionary War. English Wild Bill Love came here for the Revolutionary War. I had his Revolutionary War paperwork. I'm not going to subscribe to Fold 3. They can kiss my ass. I should have saved the paperwork. But I seen it. Actually, I do have it somewhere because I made videos about it. So I can probably go back to those videos and screenshot what I have. But either way, talking all fast and shit. They came here for the War of Virginia. Now that I'm thinking about it, ain't that a bitch? Okay, and that was around 1766. Okay, and around that time is around 1798. You get McIntosh County pop up, right? Which means they start pushing niggas out. But as they was pushing niggas out, some of them was getting unalived, and they were some little old bitches too. They must have lost some of them wars. In fact, likely they lost those wars. Now that I think about it, they probably lost many of those wars because they was making treaties with the Indians, and they didn't fully remove all the Indians. That's why black people are still there today, actually. Okay. And they reclassify. Remember, Virginia reclassified, right? All these niggas and these Indians over in here. All these niggas is Indians over here in Virginia. We're going to have to reclassify y'all. Oh, y'all couldn't beat us. You reclassified us, made us citizens of the United States, started counting us and made us docile, made us, doing all this underhand trickery. But let's fast forward, still going forward, because I'm just kind of putting all those together. You see how many things I'm putting together that even many of y'all know about? Right? So that's what's going on in Virginia. And you think about it, we was just selling them shit in the in the early 1700s. So it wasn't like slavery had been going on forever, 1500s, 1600s. They bullshitting. They didn't have colonies going at the same time that these niggas had these sales of tobacco like that going at the same time. Hell no. If anything, they might have had their forts. And in fact, I'll pull that up. They had forts. When we look at the maps now, look, this is why I need to tell these stories. They had forts on the map. Charlestown was Charles Fort by 1650. It wasn't Charlestown until somewhere close to 1700. Ain't that funny? Around the 1700 time, when y'all start pushing niggas out. Trying to push niggas out or reclassifying niggas, playing games, moving a bunch of y'all on the coast. Bunch of y'all white folks coming in and then also coming for us. But let's get to this. So then one of these McIntoshes makes his way to Chickasaw County. Now this is called, I gotta log back in. Hold on. This is what I need to do. This is why I'm doing documentaries. Cause y'all ain't never heard it like this. And this is using all they dates and all their information. I ain't deviating from, I ain't showing no random shit. So this is a book about the Chickasaw Loves, about the Love family. Okay, and this was a hard to find book. I shit you not. But your boy found it. Why can't I go back? What the hell is up with that? Okay, well, whatever. Okay, all of a sudden, I guess they don't keep them there. Well, that's fine. But we're going to go to this page of the book. Or not that page. Hold up. This page. Thomas Love the Loyalist. Where we were at. Now, I want you to first notice, I've been telling you about that dude McIntosh. Where is he at on here? Is he on this? He might not be on this boat, but on the no, there's a McLish. But I showed you over on his genealogical thing. I had to pull it back up on my that McIntosh appointed him. So he may not have came over the boat. McIntosh may not have came over on the boat with him, but other people came over on this boat, and I'm gonna show you how they all conspired to take over this whole thing. But you got along with names of the leaders in the British Records of the Colonial Office who came over on something called Colbert's Ferry. James Colbert joined the Colbert's Ferry. A bunch of people joined the Colbert's Ferry, and Colbert was another one of those people, James Colbert. But it says James Adair, Michael Cheadle, James Colbert, Benjamin Seeley, William Kemp, William James, Love, McLish, Pickens, all these surnames. And they all came over 1766. So they was all likely coming over. Remember, they was running away from a war. Thomas Love was, so they all probably was little biznitches running away from the war. Why would people need to be running away from the war if they was winning? Why would they do that? And then think about this. They were trying to fight some Indians over on that side and ran to some other Indians for help. And the Indians helped, unfortunately. Should have murked their ass. Nikki, the family down there, and I'm pretty sure there's other family up in here too. And so why is this important? Well, in 1766, you have all these surnames coming over. Well, funny thing, on this document in the Library of Congress, libraryofcongress.gov, it's called the General Laws of the Chickasaw Chickasaw Nation. What year is this? 100 years later, 1866. 100 years later after those people got over from that boat. All right? Coming into the Chickasaw Nation for help. Well, that's funny. Who's in the Chickasaw Nation legislature leading the tribe now? People with the last name Kemp, Colbert, Love, Kemp. Some other people too, whose names aren't didn't come over on that boat, but probably came over on another boat, and now they in there too. And they're all throughout here, right? All throughout here being the legislators and all this other stuff, basically corrupting the whole system. At some point, by 1930, they did. By 1920 or something like that, 1903 or something. I have to look it up. But they start to dissolve the Chickasaw Nation government, and then they bring it back under some new shit, the Native American bullshit. So that's a whole nother thing. But as you can see, these people were conspiring from the beginning. And not only did they carry out the plan, they carried it out generationally. Like telling their kids, you're going to have to do this. And they do it, which is crazy, you know? But at the same time, what was Thomas Love trying to do? Well, Overton Love, let me go back to my iPad here. Well, you got people like Overton Love. I thought it was listed up here. Well, Tom Love becomes the founder of Love's Travel Stops. Him and Judy Love, they're the ones that ended up with all the major bread. But the Love family was very prominent, had a lot of bread prior to them starting that. But at the same time, they took off with all the bread. Okay, and he's one of the ones. Now, he claims to be, he is a descendant of Overton Love, which I think it'll say it somewhere in here, and because they like to brag on it. He's an Indian. He has Indian in him. They probably say it somewhere in this bitch. But let's do this. Overton loves travel stops. Overton loves travel stops. Maybe I need to put Overton love and not the loves travel stops. Overton love, yep. Overton loves impact with Love County. Most residents of Love County, blah, 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 keep going down, and you'll notice that they'll say he was 1/8 Chickasaw blood. See, can you see it in him? Can you see the 1/8? Is it hitting you? Well, the phenotype's got to be in there somewhere. What's up, Empress? She said, nope, I don't see it. Y'all don't see that 1/8 Indian in this man. That's what gave these niggas access to get that land and get that oil, you know? Being so Indian and all, you know? Somebody said he does have high cheekbones. Let's see. Would you call that high? I damn near call it non-existent cheekbones. I don't even know if that nigga got a cheek, a chin, lips. Half the time they ain't even got a nose. Anyways, so you can see right there, they had registered with the Dawes Commission, right? But they'll tell you he had 917 slaves. You know, all 917 of them couldn't whoop his ass. You think they was gonna whoop his ass? You think they was scared of this man? I beat the fuck out of that nigga and be done, nigga. I'd be the one to beat his ass for the tribe, nigga. Let me take this nigga out for y'all. I know they're gonna kill me afterwards. But let me beat this nigga's ass real quick and take him out. It ain't gonna take me long. He weak. Okay? Somebody gonna do it for the tribe. Right? If that was the case, y'all already know it would have been that easy. A nigga would have done it for the tribe. That's why I know it had to be like deception for them to do this. And they lying. What do I think? I'm gonna tell you what I think, and I haven't been able to prove, but I haven't fully like dove in. But what my guess is how can a person have 917 slaves? Now it could be one of two ways. Let's say, to make it more real worldly, let's say you own a call center and you have 300 workers. Well, technically, you would have 300 slaves, right? 300 people that work for you. 917 slaves could be 917 people who work for you. And I know you people like, yeah, of course, working and slaving on the plantation. If you got 917 people mad at you, somebody gonna take you out. If you really around there cracking whips, got people bent over with overseers, and that's what people say. Well, he had overseers and police, and it was hard. You know, they'll just keep going. They'll just keep trying to force the narrative. But I'm gonna tell you one thing else that I believe too. Remember, these people, their names were listed of the names of counties. Adair County, McIntosh County, Love County, other counties. And in these counties were people who were typically like a governor or a head of that county or a mayor or whatever, right? In my opinion, I believe, and then when you look into the names of these counties, they were prominent so-called slave owners. Oh, James Adair owned a lot of slaves. There's an Adair County. Oh, you said McIntosh owned a lot of slaves? That's a whole McIntosh County. Oh, Love owned a lot of slaves. Well, there's a whole Love County. Now, do you all have 917 black folks in Love County enslaved? Or do you have 917 black folks counted as slaves on a census form that's listed up under your county? And now you've changed the narrative to, oh, he owned 917 slaves. I could be wrong about that. But why do they all got counties named after them? Many of the most prominent named slave owners. He had 1,400 slaves, and he had 20,000 acres. 20,000 acres. That's a goddamn city. And then when you think about the acres, and then you think about, okay, 1,500 slaves. Okay, spread across a city. That's a big area to have to police. Niggas can run away at any time. Now you're starting to think about it visually, right? Think about it visually. How do you keep that many niggas from running away in a vast amount of acres with so many of them? Come on now. Does that make sense? Oh, they had them all in storehouses in one location. Okay. The reason why you haven't spread out is because people would be tending to their lands, doing their things, growing, and probably bringing back some of the things that they grow to you, and you being the main person with the contracts with the government, and probably disseminating that food out to whoever else. I don't know. I'm just kind of giving conjecture at this point on that. But we do know that we was the ones doing the agriculture and the tobacco and cotton farming, and we were selling it to them in Virginia and other places prior. So, I mean, did they come in? Like, to me, I'm thinking like more so like they didn't come in, start wars in certain areas, take over people. It's like they came in and started pushing paperwork and started putting themselves in government and pushing paperwork. It's like you had niggas already on their farms. And I've heard stories like this. I wish I could find it. We Know the Truth Now talked about it. But you have stories where it's like niggas was already on their land. And when the state became a state, they instituted state taxes on the land. And they didn't tell people about the state taxes they instituted that they were supposed to pay, because they just did these laws and stuff amongst themselves. They don't give a fuck, right? But but nobody is what do they say? Obliviousness or whatever is no excuse for the law, or whatever they say, right? So then you got a bunch of black people who were on land who start getting notices like, hey, you ain't paid your taxes in X amount of time. And so we're about to sell your land. And then the land gets sold to a YT person, right? Now the YT person gets the land. The land that you already been on, and I've always been on. What happens after that? Does he kick you off the land? Well, he could, but you know what he likely does? He says, hey, I got this land. I'm not trying to disturb what you got going on, but technically it's mine, but I want you to be here. But what I'm going to need you to do is share some of that shit with me. Oh, like a sharecropper? I got to share my profits with you? I got to pay rent? Is what I have to pay? Let me see if I can find that document that says about the rent thing. It's been a minute since I've seen that. Let me see. Oh, I got to pay you rent now, as you've become my landlord after a government sale on my motherfucking shit that I didn't know about. And there was cases where people were getting the land taken up off of them. I got so many stories, and I got paperwork on that one from some lawyers. I don't know if it's gonna show that. And I don't know. In my head, trying to think. It was a census form that I found that was filled out that like showed the sharecropping thing, but it was showing it like paying rent. You got people that owned and paid theirs and the rent, and then I was like, oh, it was like you paid rent. But then I was like, you have to think, why did all of a sudden you got to pay rent? Were they just some people from another family who decided to go buy some land from some YT dude at the time, or whatever? So my thing is, what I'm getting back to make the story make sense about this, about slave owners being over counties and pushing paperwork. It's like you come in, you take over, you make all these people be sharecroppers, and then when you go around with your census forms, you say, "Hey, we're gonna count all the black people here as head of households, and if you're not a head of household and you're just a worker out there, and you don't have any free paperwork saying you're a free person, even if you live up under a black person's home, we're gonna have to mark you down as a slave." Yeah, we got to count everybody here as slave. We're just workers now. Don't get too concerned. I don't even know if people knew they was being tick marked down as slaves. To be honest with you, but some of them may have. Some of them may have known it, but slave to them at the time may not have meant what it means to y'all. Slave to them was just a term utilized, in my opinion, for a lot of them as a worker, but some of them did know that there was a bad side to it as well. There was a negative side to being like sold into slavery for like jail fees or things of that nature, and that's a whole nother thing. I'm just and I can show all kind of stuff for all those stuff, but let me get back to this. So that's just my conjecture on like how these people amass so many slaves, so much amounts of land without people just taking off and running. Cause nigga, I'ma leave. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take him out, and I'm gonna take off running. And no, I'm gonna take him out, and I'm gonna tell y'all to take off running. And if y'all don't leave and you're gonna let me be martyred in vain, I'm coming back to haunt y'all niggas. Okay? I'm coming back to haunt each and every one of y'all niggas for letting me do that. But anyways, so for those kind of just getting in, you can kind of tell I'm getting a little tired on the voice. So I may not be on too much longer. But those people became the richest people in the West. So let me show you one other thing that shows that they knew that that's what they wanted to do. Because some people would be like, "Are you sure they was really conspiring?" And then I'm gonna show you another thing. Now this is the so-called intermarriage, not so-called, but this is intermarriage. Now they was ever since as early as 1792. They were saying stuff like, "Hey, it has been suggested that the best method to facilitate the civilization of the Indians and attach them to the United States would be to encourage the intermarriage of whites with them." Okay? So that's what they're saying in 1792. That's funny. That's not too far off from when all those people came over on the boat with Thomas Love, right? 1766. They came over on boats. And then all of a sudden they start getting Indian wives in the Chickasaw territory, right? Now, did they marry him or did they do something else? Well, they want to say to you that they encourage marrying. Like right here it says, let intermarriages between them and the YTs be encouraged by the government. They're talking about the Indian savages. You got 1816. That was 1816. It says it somewhere here too. That's the same one as that one. Intermarriages between the Indians. Mr. Crawford recommending intermarriages with the Indians. I have been induced to turn to that document, which is to be found in Niles' Weekly Register in the year 1816, volume 10, commencing on the page headed Indian Department Report of the Secretary of the War therein. Department of the War, I had to let me stop acting like his voice. Department of the War, March 13th, 1816, the proposed blah, blah, blah. So basically they talking about when every effort to introduce to them Indians, they're repeating the same one from before. Whenever the Indian savages let intermarriages be encouraged between them and whites and the government. Okay, and then you got it again. They're talking about intermarriages, 1866, intermarriages of whites and the Indians or whatever. That would have said something too, but another marriage of an Indian with a white girl contemplated, and then it goes into details. 1825, and they just keep talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Intermarriages of them with the whites, right there. Intermarriages with the whites or whatever, right? Many different times. Okay, I must have put these in. I must have copied and pasted the damn same things many times. So they were trying to do that. So Mr. Thomas Love had got him 2 wives. Right? Mr. Thomas Love had 2 wives because he was being greedy. And we're going to read one of them. I forgot to read it. Where'd Thomas Love go? I don't know what the hell he went. There it is. Thomas Love. So he got him 2 wives, Sally and Imahota. Okay? He got him 2 wives. Well, let's read one of these. One of the most important ones. Right here. Now, this is 1900. Right here. After they've been encouraging intermarriage for over 100 years. Now, think about it. Whether you intermarried to get these benefits or whether you stole a wife to get these benefits, you can't unalive her, otherwise you may not get the benefits. You can marry in if they accept you, but what if they don't want you? Because your thing is about 2 inches. And you look kind of weird as a YT pale-faced dude, right? I'm sorry, not all of y'all. No disrespect. But what if that's the case, right? What if they won't get with you? Well, let me tell you what else they would do before I reread this. What would they do? I'm not going to tell you what they would do to get a wife. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let somebody tell you. I'm going to let somebody else tell you.
$5 million acres of land. And it was people that looked like me. What Andrew Jackson did was he appointed some Europeans. I want you to know how I'm here, brother.
Appointed some Europeans? Ain't that funny? Mr. McIntosh appointed Thomas Love. I know appointed is just a vague term, can mean anything, right? But Mr. McIntosh was a pretty up there fellow, and he met up with Mr. Thomas Love. He said, you know what? Let me appoint you. He probably, if I look into it, and that's probably something I need to look into, he probably has some kind of connection with Andrew Jackson, right? If I can prove that connection, that'll be a cool connection, right? Why is it not playing the volume? See, this should be bullshit, man. Electronics be bullshitting sometimes.
55 million acres of land. And it was people that looked like me. What Andrew Jackson did was he appointed some Europeans. I want you to know how I'm here, brother. My grandfathers were a generation of chiefs. I come from a line of chiefs. I'm from a royal family of chiefs. What the Europeans did was took my people, took the women and the children, and some European that Andrew Jackson was friends with, appointed them as chiefs. Left the original chiefs back here. Took the white chief that he appointed, which into Oklahoma is, as you know today, as Indian Territory. Indian Territory was set up by mixed breeds. Okay? Yeah. The people that signed the treaty was either non-native or mixed breeds. That's right. The full breeds was left back here.
Now, what did she say?
Of chiefs. I come from a line of chiefs. I'm from a royal family of chiefs. What the Europeans did was took my people, took the women and the children, and...
You get it? What would they do if they couldn't get married? They would probably take the women and the children. And that's probably why Thomas Love is kind of flagged in the system for being a little bit too old to be having kids, like these 3 kids that say that they're his. Well, how could he be having kids at age 70? Some people will say, well, he can still do it. I've seen it happen. No, no, no. I believe he took the women and the children. Went on up to Chickasaw County that he mapped out for himself and his family, his new family, right? Who the wives were getting money as they were heading on up to Chickasaw County, the new Chickasaw area that he mapped out. That Chickasaw area being right on top of the oil and gas fields, which makes them rich beyond generations. Okay? Now, let's look at that newspaper clipping that I was going to show you. Where'd it go? Intermarriages. Intermarriage. Right here. 1900. They had been encouraging intermarriage between the YTs and people and Indians for almost 100 plus years at this point, over 100 years. So let's see what the culmination of that has turned into. It says that the Indian race is about done for. There is no doubt. It all came about by intermarriage with the whites. For the most part, white men are responsible for it because they have married Indian women more than Indian women have married white men or Indian men, my bad. In the first place, the Indian women have quite a fortune. The Indian women have quite a fortune. Somebody said, you should check out how the Irish slaves were treated. Somebody going mad at one of my videos, I guess, on YouTube. They in their feelings, but whatever. Attracted some white tea men to the Indians or whatever. So the Indian women have quite a fortune, right? It says, in accordance with the general rule of the Indian Department, any white man who marries an Indian woman is entitled to share in the funds of the tribe just the same as the woman herself. Their children are also allowed their equal share with the mother. So he knew that if he can give him a couple of wives, whether you marry in or whether you take them by force and say you're going to be my wife, and that money that's coming in being deposited, I'm going to get that off you, right? Their children are also, or I said that already. Nearly every woman has money deposited with the United States for land sold many years ago. So they were getting paid by the United States government for the land that was sold. And here you are conspiring to take it from them, either through actual love, and we're really love these women because they just got a hankering for Indian women, or because they took them by force, because don't nobody want your ass, okay? But anyways, has deposited by the government from land so many years ago, which brings in a certain income. So that's that money they talking about. Some of the richest men in the West are those who have married Indian wives and have a large family of children. Well, he took two women who had about 6 and 7 kids each. One would say that's a large amount of children. The Indian chiefs are all trying to win a white bride. The rest of this stuff is like whatever. But even here, just note this. They say here, the Chickasaws are very much opposed to white men marrying into their tribe, but none of the other tribes are. So think about this. Guess who's a Chickasaw? Thomas Love and Imahota Love. But it says in the newspaper, they despise that. This particular tribe opposes it. Yet, for some reason, Thomas Love was able to do it twice within the span of 10 years, 9 years. How'd that happen? Did he marry them because he loved them? Or did he do exactly what the chief said and take some women and some children, unalive the husbands? And what I heard, now this is a story I've heard too, which is pretty fucked up. I heard, and this goes two ways. I haven't looked up and found proof of it. But I heard that they sent the men off to war to go fight in a war that never was really going on. And when they sent them out, they unalived all of them and sent the women and the children up. So imagine you getting prepared for war, whatever, and you in your battalion, and then like a whole nother couple battalions come and massacres all y'all, and it goes away. Nobody says nothing. I don't know if that happened or not. Another thing somebody said that they shipped off the husbands. But what happened if Thomas Love didn't marry them? If he married them, then he married them. Then it is what it is. But if he didn't marry them, what happened to the husbands? Why were these two people so eager to get with a YT man and they were prominent? The names of them were prominent in the Chickasaw family before Thomas Love. So why were they so eager to get in there when they were so strongly against it that they had to write it in the paper? Look, them niggas don't like that. Okay, let me look, I know we talking about all this intermarriage stuff, but I just want y'all to know that these folks, they ain't with all that. They ain't with all that right there, okay? So then why does it happen? Well, it's the same reason why a lot of taking it back to the paperwork that I was shown. I showed it on here. Taking it back to the paperwork of the Love family that I showed you and how there's a problem with it. And how everybody else within the Love family are having problems with the same thing because their Freedmen applications were all done by the same A.S. McKinnon. So when I go look at other Love... In fact, I want to show y'all. It's on my MacBook. Let me see if I can fix my thing real quick before I do it. To see if I accidentally press something. Dictation. Give me just a second. Let me see if this works. Hold up. What the? Oh, okay. All right, never mind. I had my caps lock pressed. Okay. All right. So let me show you. A series of documents that I pulled up. Let me just find those documents. Let me see. Where did I put them? I know how to find it. Love family. Well, see, this doesn't search like that, though. Or it might. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. I found one. Let me find where it is in a folder. Showing and closing folder. Okay, Freedmen applications. This is some of them, not all of them. Okay. So, You have one person's Freeman application. It looks like this. It's real basic. Remember, Freeman applications should look like this. Right? Now here's a love here who has a full application. This love has a partial application. You don't get to find out who her mother or her father is and who did this application. Well, you got to look pretty close. Commissioner McKinnon. I said, oh, am I finding a clue here? I went down and down. Now, McKinnon didn't do these for these folks. But when I go to these where they're done incorrectly, done like this, you're going to notice A.S. McKinnon's name is on that. For another Love family member, a prominent name, erasing people's connection to a love, huh? Let's find us another one. Look, we got to hear another one. A little basic application, no family members listed, as if Mr. McKinnon filled it out himself. Well, let me just type up some paperwork. It's to prove it, I'm the goddamn commissioner. Who the fuck gonna know, right? Anyways, he didn't expect me to be going through this paperwork. Here's another one. A Love family member. Where is it at? Isaac Love. Mr. McKinnon. Huh. Who assigned you to all these Love family members? And not every single one of them, because remember, here's, not here, excuse me, here's a Love family member. Was that the same one? Rudolph? That's Randolph. This is Randolph. Let me see. He did one later. Who did this one? He must not have been as prominent, in my opinion, or came back during. They had a few rounds of application periods. I don't see the commissioner name on here. Commission 5 civilized tribes, the Roman 5 civilized tribes. Typically would always be at the top in a matter, and that's probably why I saved it. Randolph being duly sworn testifies as follows. Who was the commissioner? Let me go to the bottom and see if it shows the commissioner at the bottom. I didn't get the second one. Now that's kind of odd. I'd have to go double check into that. I'm kind of curious. Who was the commissioner on the one that was normal? Okay, but that's another one that would be your normal. And let me see if we got a commissioner name on this one. See how they typically have it? She is being sworn by Commissioner T.B. Needles. Okay? So typically you're going to have the name of the person on there. So any kind of, that's why I say I look at any changes. Like, why is your application like this and their application like that? And how come this application has the commission on it and this one don't? And how come all these people have M.S. McKinnon who have applications who look like some bullshit like this? Another one. And as you can see, he done stamped his name. And it's another Love family member. And it doesn't tell you who their parents are. Okay? Some Love family members. And that's technically, that's getting rid of your history. It's like they're saying, hey, we don't need to know who these people's parents are. That's going to disconnect you from your parents, your parents' parents, their parents, and anything else from that point. Okay? That's why this is important. And they didn't take it down on several applications. And I think there was more, and I need to go through some more online on top of mine, on top of other people's. Okay? So, when I say there's so much corruption, all so they can do what I believe they wanted to do, which was get that oil and gas. That's what they wanted. Love County, Oklahoma, oil and gas, and that's where they went. And that's what they took, and now they're billionaires today. And nobody can say shit about it, right? What are you going to do about it? Let me see. Let me check something real quick on my phone, y'all. Because I really don't want to do this job. I'm going to give it to one of my folks. Do you want this for 4 o'clock today? Question mark. Hey, boss, comma, do you want this for 4 o'clock today? Question mark. Okay, if not, I'll get out there, but it's kind of cold. Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Let me see what y'all saying down here. He said me the sicko sitting on some of my family land right now. Damn, that must be down there in Louisiana, huh? Oh yeah, in Louisiana. Makes sense on why we had mineral rights. Yeah, yeah. I didn't think about that. I never did think about that. Peace meta. Peace meta. Yeah, I didn't think about that, to be honest. The whole mineral rights, because it does say that, I think, in some either treaties or something. I've heard about it, but I hadn't honed in on it in the research. Your family may still own the mineral rights. Excuse me. And not only this, let me show y'all the coal map. The Let me see. Not definitions. Hold on, y'all. Okay, thanks, boss. I'll pay you that one out today as well. Period. Okay. All right. So here's the other map. Let's see what y'all saying down here. Oil and mineral refinery, railroad yard. Damn, my dad's side too. She said, I found mineral rights to my grandmother's property in Chickasaw. Damn. We had some of my fifth great grandfathers had to pay. So think about it. If they were negotiating mineral rights, and I got y'all, I'm glad y'all saying that to me. I got to look into that for this documentary, for the Love documentary, because these maps alone prove that those mineral rights were dead smack in the Indian territories and nowhere near the colonies, and they had to force their way over. They had to manipulate their way over for what they really wanted. And it looks like our people, now when we were thinking about it, we think about those treaties as like, okay, we get the land, we trying to make sure the land, these land patents are there so that way our people could, always build and all this other stuff. But now you look at it like, man, hold on. Our people knew, our people had to know, because they were some learned people. They were in Congress and all this other stuff. They had to know about these minerals and these mineral rights. Well, She said, yes, they were. He said, I always be thinking about it, and this map made me see it. Yep. And now you see how the vast amount and the main area it's in the southeast, and in the northeast, which is a lot of us too. All it is, because when we look back at the map, let's look at the 13 colonies, and it's like first they got us out of the Virginia for our cotton. So think about this, man. Think about this, y'all. Like the story that I've told y'all today, everything just like that. This alone is a documentary in itself. They start coming over in the colonies in Virginia and everything. And what are they taking when they get over here? Cotton and tobacco. All of it. Which we were approved to, that we were selling it to them and all the way up to at least 1706, at least. Right? And then the war started happening out. So between 1706 to 1803 Louisiana Purchase, they mostly was just getting the tobacco and shit off of us. And we had that. Okay? And then we also had the oil and gas fields and the coal fields. Think about the amount of shit we knew we had. And this is The most known, again, possibly in some of the world, some of the largest deposits in the world in some cases. And we possibly had contracts or patents that would give us access to the lands because of what was really there and what they have been taking. So there's massive amounts. Yep, I'm in the Carolinas where we produce tobacco. Well, see, trade interruption. I have original Americans from Ohio, Kentucky, Arkansas. Damn, all the way up there. There's a bunch of people on this app too from the area too. I think Sistar Soul might be up in there. I think she said she Kickapoo. In a lot of places we come from. I think our ancestors were tricked into switching over everything. Same, they were. And unalive, that's why I believe, which that, like, man, my documentaries is just going to be one after another. I'm telling you, I ain't going to lie. Once I get into it, the swing is going to be back to back. I'm still organizing all my receipts, and that's taking forever. I don't know, it's like 10,000 fucking, over 10, I don't know how many thousands of fucking photos and videos I'm going through in this damn thing. But I got to go through them all because every time, and it's kind of cool though. It's like as I go through all my receipts, I get new things that I didn't know about, that I'm noticing things new that I didn't see in old receipts now. And so I make new content, and as I make new content, it grows the page, and as the page grows, the more people I can reach with the documentary. So it's really kind of a win-win. I be complaining because it's a lot of scrolling, a lot of watching. It's kind of exciting though at times. It's like, damn, nigga, look at that shit, nigga. I didn't know. I forgot about that. You know. Damn, what was I about to show? Hold on, let me look at my phone. My bad, boss, comma. Junior already accepted it about a couple of minutes ago. I could let me move it. Let me move this job so he can. I might be able to get him. Well, no, he'll be alright. Okay, so what was I looking for? Kind of lost my train of thought. We sure appreciate all your work. I appreciate y'all being up in here, vibing with your boy, getting the game. Especially appreciate all my regulars that be coming up in here, and I appreciate everybody that's coming up in here new. Look, y'all, last time I did that last live stream I did, it was like 250 people in here. I ended up getting 100 new friends, followers off of that thing. I was like, damn, man, that's pretty dope. It's one thing to get people's attention in a live stream to even stop as you pass by. It's another thing to hold their attention for a long time as we did. And it's a whole nother thing for them people to be like, man, I fuck with that boy. Let me follow that nigga. You know, he cool. I like that. I appreciate that. Okay, let me get a little stretch in. Okay, I done completely forgot where I was going with it. But, so, oh yeah, it was like the corruption. Oh yeah. Okay. So we were, like I said, we was in power during this time. I think it's under the Freedmen folder. So, I mean, like the corruption, like, so think about this. That's why I came up with this thing, and I was like, how do you have all these people in power? Louisiana, we had power. South Carolina, Mississippi, right after slavery. Most of the people here are black folks as you get in close. A little over half of them are black, right? And then half of them, and then in South Carolina, you got all these people. Alabama, you had all these black folks. This was 99 compared to 57. Well, what you also have around that, right before that time, what you have happen of corruption, because remember, they didn't even get there until after 1803. And as soon as they get there, where'd that shit go? as soon as they get there, they start setting things on fire. You got courthouse fires. Just in Alabama alone, they were setting places on fire. What were they doing? What were they getting rid of in all of these counties that have a lot of indigenous names and other names? Coosa, Cherokee, Tallapoosa, Tuscaloosa, right? Choctaw, Mobile, what other little names do I recognize down here? Look, there's a Colbert, hoe ass nigga. There's some different ones, like James Madison, Madison County, stuff like that. So Jefferson, Thomas Jefferson, right? Jefferson owned X amount of slaves, or were they all just under his county? Who knows? Okay. So you have all these courthouse fires, and the other thing that you have, according to the census.government, you have a bunch of fires, things being burnt by they call the British, in 1812, 1790, 1800. Hey, a lot of those censuses are gone, as well as other things that was there prior. So you come in, you burn things down, you unalive a bunch of people at an office, as I've showed y'all in a news clip that they unalived a bunch of these folks. And then you flood the zone with immigrants, YT immigrants, and then later, y'all keep yourselves in power by continuously voting yourselves in, because now you have the majority. So now you don't have to force yourself and do all this trickery in order to keep the power. You just keep the majority by bringing in immigrants. And then they do that with the Mexicans. This recently brought in a bunch of Mexicans, hoping that they was going to vote Democrat and all this other stuff, trying to get their numbers up. Let them register as white. We need to get these numbers up. Okay? So yeah, he said, I saw in Kunuk County records they burned the record office. See? And Kuneka, like, why was that county, why were these counties named after indigenous names? That's another thing to think about. Now, it's almost, to me, they didn't have time to rename everything. This is what I keep saying. I don't think they had enough time to rename all these lakes, all these counties, all these streets, all these things, these landmarks that are named at mountains and this and that that's named after Indians, our folks. So it was easier to erase our language and erase what we knew over generations than it was for them to rename everything, because they'd have to walk this whole bitch, rename all this shit, remap it, and all this other shit, and they ain't creative enough to come up with names like that. They'll keep renaming it the same shit, and then they're gonna really they couldn't rename everything. Exactly. They ain't got enough creativity. They'll just keep naming it the same thing, and it'll be the same thing everywhere you go. And that'll give them away. But instead, they made us forget, and then they put the buffer group in between them, so that way, when you think about the Indians, oh, this is named after the Indians, then you start thinking, oh, those Hawaiian-looking motherfuckers? Is that who you talking about? Nah, they ain't talking about them. They talking about you, nigga. They talking about you. Okay? So, yeah, man. This was a cool morning, man. I think I started around like 6 o'clock. So, this is almost about a 3-hour live stream. I'll be cooking, man. I'll be cooking for y'all for about 3 to 4 hours. CR the Great, what up, boss? He asked me out. He's like, I don't know how Sam you do it. It's tiring as fuck. I ain't even gonna lie to you. My voice is tired. Literally, you'll go hoarse. Sometimes you'll get hoarse just from talking. I'm like, damn, man. I'm just talking to the folk. But it be like that, because I don't really leave no dead air time a lot. He said I'm out of form. Get some hot tea. I know, right? I need to do. I need to get some. I got some. What? I got some chamomile tea. I understand this a lot. You're doing good, but I appreciate that, man. I appreciate y'all being here, man. I'm gonna keep teaching. You know, these morning teachings are pretty cool. I tested it last night. I was like, is the morning better than the evening? But last night I had like almost 80, 90 people in there, and they stayed in for a while. So, I may do morning or the evenings. Either or works. But I'm definitely gonna, definitely be teaching and doing these documentaries, getting geared up for these documentaries. I got to go through all of these. I wonder if I could figure out how many. Did it tell me somewhere how many photographs I got up in there? Because almost all of them are just receipts. I ain't really got no family photos or nothing up in this bitch. A couple of photos here and there, but not many. Just to get an idea. There's a show over here. Photos. Says how many gigabytes I got. I wanted to see like how many total photos I had up in that bitch. You know what? I think it tells you in the photos location, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's not as much as I thought. 4,350 items. I was thinking like 10,000 or something. It's still taking a while. I'm only like a little over halfway through the list, organizing them all and it's good. It's good. It's like relearning everything you've learned and re-going over all the work and all that other stuff. And that's my ancestor from. That's a recreated photograph from her old photograph. Do I have an old photograph right here? Not right here, but of the one that I've been talking about, the Thomas Love family. Somebody had it recreated from the black and white photo, and it looks pretty amazing. I wish they would have darkened the skin a little bit more. They're playing games, but I don't think they're playing games. It was a black dude that did it. But who knows? He might have had a white company that did that for him. So anyway, they're gonna play a little games. But I'm gonna be going through all these. You know what I'm saying, and organizing them for y'all, man, and then getting these, and then I'm gonna start shooting for the documentary. I'm somewhere around like right here, because after I get off of here, I'm probably about to start right up. Yep, because I just saved these done things, and I just saved that too. So I'm somewhere about right here, which is a little less than halfway over the amount there. So once I go through all of these, your boy can start putting in extra work. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna get off here. Stop talking. What's up, crew? Rod? Get up here. Start talk. What's up, RRE? I don't know if I said what's up to you earlier. Tamara, what's happening? Good to see you again. Said the way you break it down and make it easy for us to follow the trail, your factual, comical love. I appreciate that. And it'd be a lot too, because it's hard to follow long, drawn out stories and stuff. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It can be pretty hard to follow. So you kind of just, I don't know. It's just like my natural me, to be honest. Like, I don't be trying to do these things, but I do get it. Like, I can see myself. I can break it down for people, And it's not that I don't know that about myself. I kind of knew that about myself. Like, I used to like be like a trainer when I worked for like different positions. Like when I was in the call center, I would be training people a lot, and then eventually pretty much became a trainer, and then somewhat a supervisor. That's a whole other story. But then even when I became a technician in the field, working for like AT&T and stuff like that. I was training a lot of people, doing a lot of stuff. I was always like doing the head person because I could break things down, make people understand. Look, man, all you got to do is take that over here, man, put that wire through there, and you just do it like this. Oh, shit, man, So I'm not surprised that I can do this. It's dope, though, because it's history. And I never tackled the topic of history back in the day, And so, like, I appreciate all the gifts to it, y'all. I never tackled the topic of this back in the day. That's crazy. I did it too. They stressed me out for it. See, and that's probably why a lot of y'all are here, because y'all too have the same kind of mindset frequency, which is being really inquisitive, not sticking to the norm of what everybody teaches you and tells you and all this other stuff. You know, really, really being inquisitive and all that. You know, so yeah. Um, I'm gonna get off here. Like I said, I'm dragging it out, but I appreciate y'all and y'all have a good morning.